Well, a father was having a son that was going to have a important birthday in his life, and the family was kind of strapped on cash. So the father was thinking to himself, what can I do to make a little bit of extra money? And so he remembered. He said, well, you know what? Back in college, believe it or not, he was thinking to himself, I was a mime, and I made pretty good money mining at different places. So he went to the local zoo and asked for a job as a mime, and they said, sure, that's a great idea. I think that'll bring people in. So he was outside the gate where people come in and getting their tickets and things. And he was pretty popular, Everybody was liking him, and he was enjoying the job and everything, and so it was going well. Well, one day the zoo superintendent came out to him and said, we've got a problem. Pulled him into the office and said, our gorilla has died. And I don't know when we're going to be able to get another one. So what I need you to do is, that's not it. Oh, that's the title. What I need you to do is dress up in a gorilla suit and act like the gorilla for a little bit. And so he said, yeah, sure, I can do that. I'll do that. And of course the zookeeper said, I'm going to give you some more money. And so he went into the gorilla cage, dressed as a gorilla, and just bounced around and acted like a gorilla and started swinging around. And sure enough, not only was the people coming to see the gorilla, but more people than used to see the real gorilla came and saw him. And so the zookeeper was so impressed, he said, okay, you keep getting bigger and bigger crowds, I'm going to keep giving you more and more money. And so the guy said, yeah, this is cool, I'm going to keep doing this, this is no problem at all. So he started doing it, just going around and just enjoying himself, swinging around and just enjoying everything. And so after a couple of months, though, the crowd started dying down. And so his money started dying down. And he said, gosh, I don't know what's going on. So he started paying attention to what was going on. He didn't really change anything he was doing as far as acting like a gorilla. But he noticed in the cage next to him that the lion was starting to get the bigger crowds. And he was sitting there thinking to himself, well, now what's up? I've been doing good. That lion isn't doing any better than I am. I'm going to have to do something extreme to get the crowds back to me so I can make more money. So he, being in the cage next to him, he figured out a way to get over into the lion's cage. And so what he'd do is he'd go over into the lion's cage and swing above the lion and make the lion real angry. And now the lion would get real angry. And of course, tons of people then were going to that exhibit to see what the heck a gorilla and a lion sitting there having it out looks like. But the gorilla, of course, never would come down to the lion because he didn't want to get hurt. So he's swinging around one day, though, and after a couple of months, and he reached for the next loop to get the next tree, and he missed it and fell down into the lion's cage. And of course, he started running in because the lion saw him and started coming at him. And that lion was plenty mad after these couple of months of trying to get him high. And the lion was really, really trying to get him. And he ran, and he's trying to get away. And as he started running, he knew his life was in jeopardy. So he started yelling. And everybody saw this gorilla saying, help me, help me, help me. And he was wondering, what the heck is going on? That gorilla's speaking English. And after running as fast as he could, he tripped on something and fell down. And the lion just pounced. The lion came on top of him. And he was sitting there screaming for his life and said, somebody help me, I'm going to die. And the lion was about to bite him. He said, shut up, man, or you're going to get us both fired. Francie was wondering where I was going with that. So let us say what did I do? I messed up. I might have lost the batteries.
Because you were grilling around too much?
I guess so. Anyway, we know by truth. Let's say our statements of truth together, please.
Yeah.
I am a child of God. I am deserving of good in my life. I am accepting my good now. I need a couple of AA batteries. Hey, Brandon, could you go upstairs and get some for me, please? He's got them up there. Okay, he's got it.
I think it's back.
No, it's not working. Thank you. A couple of AA's. Well, today's lesson is entitled Cars. Well, it says right there, Cars and Water Wells. And it is? Yeah. Okay. No, this is it. What's the AA? Oh, I need AAA. I'm sorry. Thank you.
There's some in the drawer. I just remembered. Some in that drawer right there.
Okay, I'll get it. Anyway, Cars and Water Wells is the name of the lesson today. And I want to start out by us trying to become better at recognizing the beauty that lies all around us all the time. You know, we have a lot of wonderful things happen to us in life that we don't recognize sometimes, and we can go outside and, you know, we've had an interesting weather pattern the last few days, haven't we? And it's been very beautiful both ways. I've been fortunate enough to be outside in it, which some people might think that's not fortunate, but I do. It's still not working, so can you figure it out? Maybe this came out. But anyway, looking at both the weather pattern as far as the sunshine being, and it's been humid though, it's been a little bit humid for me, but anyway, it's been the beautiful sunshine and then the rain, and enjoying, seeing how that sprouts up a lot of life around us. Taking those moments to check those out and see them and see the beauty in it is wonderful. And one of the things I've always loved about the South, and you don't get it in the North, believe it or not, is being able to be in a thunderstorm or a rainstorm and the skies above you be clear. Do you see that every once in a while? I hope everybody's seen that. But in the North, you don't get that. I don't know what I guess the climatic, whatever the differences are. I guess the storm builds up enough in the North where you see it coming and you're all in it or you're all out of it. But anyway, in the South, you get that, and it's a lot of, it's beautiful, I think. And one thing that you can happen anywhere, when I used to fly, is this thing called virga. How many people know what virga is? See, some people do. Virga is when it rains, but it doesn't hit the ground. And so if you're flying and you see virga, at least for me, if I don't have anybody in the plane with me, I'm going to go into the virga. I'm going to divert to going to the virga because it's kind of cool. Oh yeah, I got rained on today. Nobody else got rained on. That's kind of, anyway, that's my own thing, I guess.
Thank God I wasn't with you.
Yeah, thank God Francie wasn't with you. So the beauty around us, though, anything though like this is just something that we can look at and become aware of more in our life, so we can be what we call, used to be called, prayed up in unity, as far as being in a state of mind, in a consciousness that allows us to handle anything that is happening in our life. And it's a wonderful state to be in. But beauty is all around us. And one thing that I wanted to, these are different things with beauty. I don't know what you did with this, but it works good.
There was an update on the screen.
Oh, thank you for fixing it. Store the visions of beauty in your mind, though, for reference. You know, we've talked about this before, and I know it's kind of a class-setting deal, but the states of mind that Fillmore talked about, which is totally accurate, I think, and it can be compared to psychology, but superconsciousness, which is your God mind, subconsciousness, which everybody knows what that is, which is all those things that have happened in your life, and your consciousness, what you're living right now. But if we are able to, in our conscious awareness, store these visions of beauty in our subconsciousness, then what that does is makes more of our subconsciousness full of these visions. And so when something happens that might trigger something that isn't fun for us, then we'll be pulling from one of these visions instead of an old vision that says, ooh, this is an ugly situation, I don't want to be here. You see? And make the current situation totally different. Anyway, I wanted to bring up a couple things that have happened to us recently. We went, whenever it was, a month ago or May, on Aiden's first birthday, we went back up to Kansas City. And on the way back, we had the van start overheating. And we, you know, on a trip, you never want automobile problems because you don't know the people you're going to be dealing with and all that stuff. So we stopped at a motel we weren't planning on. We were planning on coming on back on through. We stopped at the motel and we're hoping for the best the next morning. And we were very fortunate because it didn't heat up again, but we made it back here, obviously. And the blessing in that, we could look at it two ways. When I got back, of course, I had to replace the radiator, you know, because it had a hole in it. But we could look at that as different ways. You know, if we could look at it that, oh God, I have to replace the radiator. What would make a difference if we replaced it in Tucumcari or here? I mean, really, if you had to replace the radiator. Or you can look at it, which we did. Thank God for it getting us home and being able to replace it here.
That's right.
Because we were able to replace it here. Brandon helped me. We replaced it on our own, you know, instead of having to pay somebody to do that. So we were very blessed on that. So we've had some interesting things happen, though, with us lately. And, it seems like, for some reason, we've been coming into a little bit more money, but we've had a lot more expenses recently. I don't know what the deal is. But we had our water well. We have a water well at our house, and it provides the whole house with water. And we had the pump itself, which goes down about, 60 feet in the ground. I don't know if you've seen one of those, but it's kind of interesting. A cylinder pump. Anyway, it's about that tall. It's a cylinder about that wide. Anyway, it pumps from it, and we stopped getting water. And I was thinking, oh, goodness, we don't have to do that again because that's $5,000. But I thought, well, wait, let's check everything out. Let's hold off instead of calling somebody and find out what's going on. So we checked it out. I called some people that have helped me in the past to find out what they think to troubleshoot it. And it ended up being, instead of that, well, at first I thought it was a pressure reducing valve, which is $600. And I thought, well, that's going to be better than $5,000, but let's wait, because that's a pretty detailed thing to take off and replace. And so let's wait and let's find out. And so I was thinking about it, and then I went downstairs and I looked and I thought, let me add pressure to this bladder valve first and find out if that works. And we added pressure and it works beautifully now. And it cost me $0. And it's not all about money. I'm not saying it's all about money, but I'm saying sometimes we have to stop instead of reacting and think about these visions of beauty and what can happen in this situation. Instead of, because I'm sure if I would have called somebody and said, I need to replace the pressure reducing valve, they would have came out and replaced the pressure reducing valve. The guy, real quick, in in that mansion that I've worked at a few times, he was telling me the other day that they have this theater room, and they have this projector. And he had a guy come out and replace it. He said, the bulb in the projector's out. Can you come out and replace it? And so the guy came out and replaced the $600 bulb. And so, I've seen that. He showed me one thing projecting on there, and it's grainy. It isn't that great of a picture, And so he was telling me the other day, he said, you know what, I wish that guy would have told me that it was an old projector, that it was grainy. We could have done probably 2.5 times that in cost, probably $1,800, but still put in a new projector where it would look nice. And he said he would have done that instead of paying for the bulb, but now it still looks cruddy. So we have to stop sometimes, but that was really on him. He wanted the bulb replaced, and he got the bulb replaced. So sometimes we have to stop and think, what beauty can come from this situation, even though it doesn't look right now in this present moment as a beautiful situation. So we need to give ourselves the time necessary to receive the guidance that we need to find out the correct answer. A lot of times we don't do that. We're in this fast-paced world where all this information is coming to us faster than it ever has, and it's going to continue to get faster and a lot more information. But we have to decide what is best for us in this present moment. And fathers are really kind of at least in the old paradigm, but father figures, which can include a female now, because our families are different than the old paradigm. But nowadays, fathers in that role need to be prepared to listen for guidance amongst everything. Because if not, sometimes we'll make snap decisions that aren't the best that we could have done. Women never do that? Okay. When you get the guidance, check it out to be true. And back to the water well. I went out, and that pressure reducing valve is leaking. So that's why I thought we should change it. But that thing's been leaking ever since we've had it. It's just a small drip, and it's a water well, so it's just going back into the well. It's not hurting anything, and it's still working. So I really don't need to replace it. I might someday, but it doesn't hurt anything. So we need to be prepared with those life-changing events. What's that mean? Life-changing events are life-happening events, to be prepared for something that might be a life-changing event. So we can respond instead of react. And respond with the correct guidance that we receive. Practicing with the small things in our life events help us when a major event happens. You know, I told you before that I don't know, and I need to quit saying this to myself really, is that I feel like earlier in my life I was more prayed up than now, but that's not true. That's not true, and here's why. And it's not true for you either. You may feel the same way. Here's why. I'm not ready for that. Because of, and this is really later on, but I'm going to tell you it now. Because of, as we grow and learn more things, you know, I showed, we sometimes use the analogy or the example of a glass being half full. What are we looking at? Are we looking at we're half full, yay? Or are we looking at we're half empty? We've still got a long ways to go. But in our life, guess what happens? Our glass, because we are learning and growing spiritually, the glass itself gets bigger. So if we have a glass half full right now, it would have been overflowing a few years ago in our glass. Do you see? Do you follow me? I hope you get that because it's extremely important. I mean, our glass right now may be half full, but that's because we have learned so much that God has given us a bigger glass to learn more. And that's the way it is, and that's the way it will continue to be. That's the wonderful thing, the beauty of this part of our life's existence. And some people can look at it and say, well, that doesn't sound beautiful to me, Warren. That sounds like I've got a lot more work to do. Well, so what? Yeah, what else are you going to do? Wouldn't it be boring? I mean, maybe not for a little bit, but wouldn't it be boring after a while if you knew all the answers? If you went to the casino and every time you threw a 7 or 11, boy, that'd be fun for the first 30 minutes, and then you'd say, oh my God, look at all this money I've got, I'm going to do nothing but win. I know it's hard to believe, but that would be what you'd be doing. It would be. Francie says, yeah, you believe that when you see it? Francie says it'd take me longer than 30 minutes to get over it. Well, it may, but anyway. It would get old, believe it or not, after a while. But that's where we came. Huh? After the church is built. Okay, yeah. But you know, we came from that setting anyway. We came from spirit, so we came from that perfection anyway. We came here because it wasn't perfect. Even though it is perfect in a way, it's not perfect sometimes in our eyes as humans. But it's perfect in a different way than whence we came. So the story is today about a dad that lives in a foreign country, actually. Well, you'll know he lives in a foreign country because I'm going to tell you. But anyway, he lives in a foreign country, and he was scheduled to be married. Engaged. Thank you. Engaged. Somebody gave it to me telepathically. I don't know who it was, but anyway, he was engaged to be married with this woman that he very much loved. And it was just a few months off for their marriage date when he found out that she was pregnant. And they hadn't got to know each other. In this country, if that happens, the woman could be stoned to death that he lived in. In this country, the woman could be stoned to death. So what did he do? He went, though, for guidance. First thing he went for was guidance, which was the smartest thing he could have done. He said, God, listen, I love this woman. I love her very much with all my heart and soul. Yet, she's betrayed me. She has betrayed me, and she has become pregnant with someone else. God said to her, that's not true. She hasn't betrayed you. I love her so much too, and you, that I have placed the child within her. Whether he believed it or not at the time, he thought to himself more for a while, and then went on ahead with the wedding. And became married to her. Of course, didn't have her stoned, didn't tell anybody about him not being the biological father. Raised the son. They had a beautiful son. Raised the son and taught him a wonderful skill that he used all his life. The skill that he had learned. And he was, by anyone's account, the best father that he could be. And no one questioned whether it was his son or not. That father, as many of you know probably already, was Joseph in the Bible. Very little is said other than his name and knowing that he was married. Very little is said about what he did as far as his role as a father. But it's important to know how and what he chose to do. Because not everybody would have chose that. But he was chosen to be in that position by Spirit, and Mary, just as Mary was chosen to give birth to Jesus. You also, no matter what your sex is, whether you're a father, mother, whatever, are chosen to be living the life you're living now. You're chosen to do great things like Joseph chose to do. But the only way that we can do that is by listening to guidance. Because if we don't listen to guidance, then we're kind of just nilly-willy in it, aren't we? We're kind of going out there and we're rolling those dice and we're not coming up with 7 or 11. Wonder why. I don't tell you that Bible story for a reason to try to get that into you as a Bible story. What I tell you that for is the father that Joseph was in the Bible is just an important, very important figure that is a lot of the time overlooked by people who talk about the Bible. But Joseph chose to do that. And he loved Jesus as his own son anyway. Oh, that's right. We already talked about that half full glass. Our glass is always becoming bigger for new blessings of experience. Let us join together, though, in celebrating not only the blessings that we've received, not only our glass being half full, but also our glass continuing to grow. It's kind of weird to think about it that way anyway, isn't it? A little bit. You know, I've been looking at this, well, for all my life. My glass here has been, sometimes I look at it half full and I enjoy the day, and sometimes I look at it half full or half empty and I don't really enjoy the day. But if I understand that as I grow spiritually, my glass is always growing too, to where I can't even hold it with one hand anymore. In fact, many of you are walking around like this. You think that half full is going to fill up that other glass? Of course it is. It's going to be overflowing. You have many blessings we each have many blessings that we have overlooked. So we can now say thank God for the blessings that we have, that we've received in the past, and the fuller glass that we're going to have, bigger glass that we're going to have to receive more. Amen?
Amen.
All right. Thank you for being here.